Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Naimi from Bahrain Free Labor Unions Federation in the Occupational Health and Safety Committee. I would like to thank everybody here who attended, and I hope that you will be very benefit from this lecture. Today, I would like to thank the union of the Sulp Company, and also I would like to thank Fulad Group and Sulp Company as well, and all the participants who was able to make it. Today we have our beautiful dietitian. Her name is Dana, and she will give us the benefits of eating properly in summer according to your jobs. I know it is like July and August, it's already hot, but also you have a difficult job working with the steel and heat. So I hope that you can benefit from this changing lifestyle of yours and implementing from your side and your family, and for sharing your knowledge with your colleagues who were not able to come today. So thank you very much for attending. Please, Ms. Dana, the stage is yours.
I would want to thank you for inviting us over, and I hope you will learn from my presentation today. And you can ask me anything regarding nutrition, even if it's not during summer, at the end of my presentation. So, as what she said, we're already half through the summer, but I know some of you, it's like summer all throughout, because you know the type of job that you have, like the scorching heat in the factory and all that. So I hope this will be beneficial. Whatever you take or whatever you eat, whatever you drink during the summertime has an impact on how you are, especially the medical conditions or various health problems that might arise from the food that you take during the summertime. And it's really very, very important that we have to be aware and protect ourselves during this time. I have collated some tips that can help you, diet tips during the summertime. So water, hydration. We lose a lot of fluid during the summertime, especially those people who are exposed to heat, you know, all the time, and even those people who just, you know, like spend so much or a few minutes in the heat. So approximately, I mean, it doesn't work for everyone, okay? This is just an approximation because sir might have a different fluid, you might have a fluid restriction, or the amount of fluids that you have is different from the one that sit beside you. I have actually later on will show you how to compute the allowable water allowance per day. So approximately you can have 2 to 2.5 liters of water every day. This is like 8 to 12 glasses of water every day. But then it's not for everyone because you have a different age, different physical activity, different jobs, male, female. So second one is, instead of drinking, you know, sodas or fizzy drinks, why do we always opt for, you know, water or fresh juices? Because fizzy drinks keeps you dehydrated because of the amount of caffeine they do have. Caffeine induces dehydration. What you don't know maybe is that when you drink fizzy drinks, I mean, these are the people who doesn't drink water at all, or like who's focused on coffee and tea, or you know, like Turkish coffee, because of the amount of caffeine, you keep on peeing, okay? So if you do not replace it with water or any fluids, then the tendency is that the body goes through dehydration, okay? So what are the best drinks that you can have? Of course, water will always be there, and you can add, but it's not something that we really promote, that you focus on, like, you know, the hydrating fruits and vegetables. Okay, so it's not just the juices. So you can have watermelon, sweet melon, you can have the lemonades, and these are all in season. So either you drink the juice, you eat the fruit, or take the vegetables. So there are also hydrating vegetables like tomatoes, lettuce, and all these things, which you can add on to your food. And avoid fried foods, and they can strain the body. Why does the fried food strain the body? Again, fried foods, processed foods, they have higher salt content. So if you take a food that's higher in salt, what happens is that it would take a lot of water for them to remove in the body. So it will take all the water that you kept in your body for that salt to be removed. Plus, during the summertime, if you've noticed, is that some of the people's digestion is not really very good. So if you're into processed food or fried foods, which are very high in fat, your digestion also gets compromised because fats are harder to digest. So then comes in the importance of fiber. Fiber is not always like, it helps with the cholesterol level or it helps you pass motion, but the gut bacteria. You know the gut bacteria, the probiotics and the prebiotics. Prebiotics are the fibers, alyaf. These are all that comes from brown bread, brown rice, brown pasta, cereals, legumes, and beans. All vegetables, fruits, nuts, they all have fiber that are what we call the prebiotics. The prebiotics are food of the probiotics, which is our gut bacteria. You have to remember is that even if you're on supplementation, even if you're eating healthy, good nutrition comes with a very good gut, your stomach, okay? 60% of your immunity lies in a very good stomach. So if your immunity is poor, for example, you have a compromised like stomach, like the gut bacteria has been lost because you do not eat any fiber. They're like fishes or any types of animals or like human. You feed them, they grow. You do not feed them, they die. So the food of these bacteria are mostly the fiber. So if your stomach is compromised or the gut bacteria is very low, absorption also is compromised. Okay, so this is something you have to remember. So in summer times, to avoid all these things, there should always be like fiber in our food, like prebiotics to feed the good bacteria. But then what are the good bacteria? These are those that comes from kefir, that comes from all fermented foods, or what else? I mean, once you have them in your body, you just have to feed them. But once your diet is basically processed foods, then they get compromised also. So the fifth one is healthy snacks. So like if you are onto sweets or fried foods during summer, as I've already mentioned, then this strains the body. So just go for hydrating fruits and vegetables. Fruits will always be the best source of your snack because they're also hydrating. And at the same time, we also have to think that why do we always encourage people to eat the fruit from the juice? Do you know that? Like now, back to school, kids, you see their lunch boxes, juices. That most of the juice, especially, I mean, let's just be honest. Like most of the juices that comes in pack has syrups and too much sugar. And then if you feed that to your kids and all, I mean, you will probably notice why they're gaining too much because their consumption of juices is very high. One piece of fruit, let's say a tennis size of orange, that would be 60 calories. And for you to be able to make a glass of juice, you will be needing 6 to 7 pieces of that juice. So just compute the amount of sugar that you have there. And the whole fruit has so many vitamins and minerals and has fiber in it. Once you juice it, then it just goes. So usually, what are the best, the best snacks that you can have? You can have nuts, or you can have the fruits and vegetables. You can have your own granola or overnight oats, which are very high in fiber and vitamins and minerals. And everything that you can incorporate the fruit would be the best snack for you. And then the sixth one is that sometimes with the heat of the sun, our appetite is too much because you've exerted so much effort outside, right? I mean, you're very tired and everything. So do you know that feeling of fullness takes 15 minutes? So if you're always in a hurry and eating everything, most of us gets overfed. And the benefits of eating slowly are here. Of course, you eat less because you eat slower, Your feeling of fullness will be there all the time after 15 minutes. So that helps you with maintaining your weight. You feel full very fast if you eat slowly. If you eat slowly, you snack less. Okay? And then it becomes smaller portion, less cravings, and improved digestion. And there's a very important thing that you should remember. When we eat slowly, the vitamins and nutrients that we get from our food gets absorbed. But there are so many things in absorption. Like even when, let's just go out of this number 6. Like, I just want to tell you about this. Have you heard of prebiotics? Oh, sorry. Phytochemicals. These are types of chemicals that you found in food that stains your clothes. Blueberries, strawberries, the dark colored ones. These are very potent antioxidants. They claim to help fight cancer. But we are not telling that you eat just solely of them, but to add them. There is a study that says that if you gargle with a mouthwash and then you eat them, there's no absorption. So this is something that you just have to think, you know, when you're trying to eat or promoting eating healthy for you. So usually during summer, we always have a buffet. We always have the buffet of food and breakfast and everything there. So what you can have is that there is no specific diet during the summertime, but to know your plate, or what we call the My Plate. Have you heard of the My Plate? This is actually our education guide to help our patients to understand what good nutrition is. Now, I've been practicing as a clinical dietitian for almost 16, 17 years now. I used to work in Saudi Arabia and I work in 3 hospitals here in Bahrain. So what you should remember is that all the 5 food groups, that this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, should always be in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So during summertime, or when you're on a buffet, for you to be able to take all the vitamins and minerals and enough nutrients to sustain you for the day, all your carbohydrates should come from brown, because they're higher in fiber, they're good for your gut bacteria, they're very good for your stomach. So these are brown bread, brown rice, brown quinoa, or potatoes with skin. The healthy protein, of course, this is for, muscle building, growth and development for children. This helps you fight hunger. It will, not only fiber helps you with the fullness, also protein. So go for the white meat like chicken or fish. You can, if you're a vegetarian, you can have lentils, you can have eggs. The reason why we always advise to cut down on the red meat like once or twice a month is because of inflammation. Okay? So red meat causes inflammation in the body, cholesterol, pain here and there, arthritis, and all that. And then fruits. Go for whole fruits. Seasoned fruits would be the best one. Watermelon, sweet melon, oranges, kiwi, and try to limit a glass of juice or just 150 ml of fresh juice per day. The rest you can have fluids, and then you can have vegetables, all vegetables. Focus also on hydrating vegetables like tomatoes or cucumber, or what do you call this, lettuce, which you can add as your salads. You can also have a vegetable juice if you would want to. It's the same, 150 ml of it per day. And then the healthy oils, olive oil and canola oil. So there's no specific diet, but the water intake. See, if you want coffee, you can have like a cup per day or 2 cups of black tea per day. Okay, the ones you have shots there, right? Okay, when we say a cup, that's only single shot. Okay, when you go out and buy Starbucks, Caribou, like any brands, the tall or the smallest one has 2 shots. So 2, 3, and 4 shots. And some of us unfortunately take like a grande 2 to 3 times per day. So just imagine how would the body get dehydrated after all this. Keep on peeing, the weather is very cold, and then once you go out, you feel the heat. Because like your car, right? So if you don't have water in the body, the fluids that will help you function well gets disturbed and gets destroyed, like your car, right? There's so much fluids in there, but once they get depleted and everything, then your car gets, needs to be maintained and all that. So hydration, okay? Your body depends on water to survive. Every cell and tissue needs that water to produce fluids for the body to function well. But then your body uses water to maintain its temperature. That's why we always advise, when you work inside and you want to go out in like 45, 48 degrees, drink water first so that your body will maintain its temperature when you go out, okay? But not to drink an entire 1.5 or 2 liters of water, just probably a glass or. And what's something that you have to remember when the body goes to dehydration is that you have migraines or headaches, nose bleeding, depression also, high blood pressure. Okay, and then asthma, dry cough, dry skin, or acne. I mean, sometimes we ignore our headache, but actually we're already dehydrated. It's something that we don't know. And then, how do you keep hydrated? So, always have a bottle with you, okay? Or probably you bring a 1.5, which I will teach you how to compute your allowance per day. I mean, if you do not want the taste of water, you can always infuse it, okay, with lemon, cucumber, just to improve the taste. But I do not really promote those, sweetener, like they're like powders that they add on to that are sugar-free, that would take like a juice later on. So infuse them to something that's very good, lemon or lime or cucumber. And then if you have a trouble drinking like fluids or water every day, like as usual, when you wake up, make sure that you drink probably a glass or 2 of warm or like a regular water, and then after breakfast, lunch, dinner, and in between. But again, as I've said, different people has different allowances on water. So let's go here. So the indicators of dehydration, the bowl has a water in it, okay? So when you pee and your color is, it's like this is very good. If it's clear, and then this is just fine. We can have a glass of water like once in a while, and then drink about half a bottle of water if your urine is this. If your urine is this, you can have half of bottled water or 1/4 liter. And this is something that's, you haven't drank anything at all, so you have to drink water. But our bowl has water in it. So if your water is this and this, you really have to drink something. Especially those who still go to the gym. It's not really very good. So what are the indicators of dehydration? You don't pee in a day, you only pee like 1 or 2 or none at all. So I mean, don't be happy, you have to be worried about it. The color of your urine, dry mouth. Even if you're not talking, you feel like you wanna drink something, but then you take sodas, you take Coke and all, the wrong one, sleepiness and fatigue, extreme thirst, headache, confusion, dizziness, lightheadedness, and when you cry, there's no tears at all. So as I've said, different people has different requirements. Who are those that are risk in dehydration? People who are exercising and extremely high intensity. These people who goes to the gym, even if the gym is fully air conditioned, for the athletes, we usually count the number of sweats that they have, and then we convert it with the fluids or water that they take every day. So these are the people that gets at risk with dehydration. People who are exposed to the sun, like the people who work outside in the heated areas, and even us. Medical conditions like kidney stones and bladder infections, I mean, because they take supplements or medications that would let them pee and pee and pee to remove the infection. So they have to replace it. They are not on IV anyway, so they have to replace, whenever they pee, they have to replace a glass of water after that. And those who are have fever, you know, vomiting and diarrhea, because they give out the electrolytes, sodium and potassium. This is the water in the body, you know. So, you know, all the electrolytes that you remove from your body through vomiting and diarrhea, you have to replace it, or they have to put you on IV. Pregnant and breastfeeding women, the temperature of pregnant and breastfeeding women are on higher ones, so they need to hydrate. Breastfeeding women also produces milk, so you need to, you know, you have to replace. For her to be able to produce milk, you have to have fluids or water in the body. People are trying to lose weight, because most of the people who are trying to lose weight, they get compromised food intake, and they feel like, you know, I mean, the intake of fluids also is very less with these people. But we always advise that they take fluids to be able to fight hunger, and at the same time to help the body. People who are unable to get enough fluids during the day, no access to water and all that. And of course, the elderly people. Can be the elderly people, I mean, they might have difficulty in swallowing, they might have problems, they might be in tubes, they might be depressed, that stops them from drinking water. So these are the people that gets compromised with dehydration. As a medical practitioner, especially those patients who are kidney problems, patients on dialysis, patients on tube feeds who are not moving, on ventilator and everything, we do have a computed amount of fluids that we give to the patients. But for us, this is how we compute the easiest way for your fluid requirement per day. So, what's your weight in kilograms? Multiplied by 0.033. Whatever the answer is, your water requirement in liters. So, for example, I'm 60 kilos, for example. Multiplied by 0.033, I need at least 2 liters of water every day. There is overhydration and there is dehydration. These are both dangerous. You know, the extreme far ends. So you know now? Okay. 1.5. Arwa, Marae, you know, the big one, that's 1.5. So try to finish that. But for other patients who gets to expose outside, you can put +5 on it. But if they sweat a lot, medical practitioners, doctors, they use some ORS, Pedialyte, or Pocari, and all that. But they have their own computations also for that. Oh, do you still, everything is clear? Okay, but then this is not for everyone. Okay, this is not for everyone. If you have kidney problems, if you have any other problems that you might need high allowances of fluid requirement based on your physicians, we also have to acknowledge that. But this is just the simplest way for us to compute for your water requirement per day. So keep in mind, water is the best source for hydration. But you know, when we say fluids, it can have like soups, milk, tea, anything that fluids or anything that are water in the body temperature. It can be laban, yogurt, ice cream, all that. But always choose for something that is not highly caffeinated and that's not high in, in sugar. If you work outdoors, you can drink a cup of water every 15 to 20 minutes. Depending on how much time you are outside. And when you're exercising, when you're feeling thirsty, do not compromise. Always have to drink water. And usually, as I've said, for the athletes and everything, we have a different computation for them because we usually compute for the sweats or the urine that they have within the exercises that they have. So in our hospital, we have what we call a medical body composition analyzer. This is so different from the one that we use in the gym. Why? Because this is medical. It works like an MRI and a CT scan, so this is more accurate. It will show the patient, because you know the body is composed of water, bones, muscles, and fat. You know, medically, this is the 4 important things that we see in a patient when they come and meet us. We do not rely on BMI. We do not rely on just your height because you have to remember that there are people who are on their perfect BMIs, but they're unhealthy. Why? Because they have more fat than muscles in the body. They're either overhydrated or they're dehydrated. And there are people who are on the heavier side, but they're filled with muscles. For us, this is healthy, because there's a percentage. In the medical body composition, it will show us the water ratio if the patient is overly hydrated or dehydrated. Patients undergoing dialysis, we can see the standard weight of the patient using the medical body composition, and it shows also the waist circumference. We have to take the waist, because you have to remember that the visceral fat is the most dangerous fat in the body. So these are the fats that are inside your stomach, like covers your liver, covers your stomach, it covers your intestines, which puts you at risk of developing diabetes, hypertension, insulin resistance, and even cancer. There are people who doesn't have, when you look at them, they don't really have visceral fats. Or maybe you've heard that your friend who was physically healthy, for example, had stroke. You know that your visceral fats had a دهن ملداخل. What's the driving force for you to what do you call this? What is the driving force why the body produces too much of that? Number one is not actually your food, unfortunately. It's the stress. The cortisol level is always at peak when you're stressed. It's not only when submission of reports and everything. The stress that you face, the family, work, your relationship, and not sleeping 7 to 9 hours is a stress itself. So you notice when you do not sleep well, your appetite is very high and you eat everything that's sweets and processed, because cortisol level triggers your hunger. So the visceral fats, why do we have so much visceral fats inside the stomach? And this is not based on just your gender. This is based on your race, height, and age. So like individualized, this medical body composition will see that, like how your muscles has been distributed. Again, the total body water and the extracellular to see if you're overhydrated or dehydrated. And then the amount of calories that you need per day if you want to keep your weight or if you want to gain more. And then if you are like a more elaborate view of how the water is in the body and your score. So this patient is actually a real patient. So he's actually 44 years old, 44 years old, male, and he has more muscles than fat in the body. So if you do a medical body composition analyzer, like a medical one, it'll help you analyze what's inside your body. That in 5-10 years down the road, you're gonna be diabetic, or you're gonna be hypertensive, or you're battling insulin resistance. So once in a while, it's also very good to see what's happening inside our body.